So the pressure was really on a small film for this kid from Canada to make sure that there are no fuck ups. Now I'm going into a small artsy fartsy film by some British director I'd never heard of, Mike Figgis. And what felt to me like a high-end student film at the time. I stayed at a friend's place, crashed out on the couch like anybody else did, my old buddy here in LA. And so I stayed with him. I rented a little car, and it was all over the place. We worked 6-day weeks until we went to Vegas and Laughlin, Nevada for about a week. Outside of that, the rest of it was filmed in Los Angeles. And it was only like a 5-week shoot.
When I'm sorry, when you're saying like a high-end student film and shooting in Las Vegas for a week, I had heard, and I wonder if you could speak on this, that there were no permits or anything pulled for those Las Vegas shots. Like it was just like Elizabeth Shue and Nicolas Cage were really out there in the mix with actual people in public in Las Vegas. Like they didn't know that there was a
film being made.
It wasn't blocked off or anything, right?
That's very correct. It was guerrilla filmmaking. That's why I call it a high-end film. I had heard, and I couldn't believe that it was, you had these actors, and they were pretty notable actors. These are big-time dudes. And there they were just filming it like off the cuff, all over the streets in the middle of the night. And I couldn't believe that I was a part of that. So there was no time to waste. There was like, stand on your mark, make sure you have it figured out, and don't fuck up. So the pressure was really on a small film for this kid from Canada to make sure that there are no fuck ups for the cinematographer, the camera operator, the director, or anybody else on that set, that you knew your marks, you knew your lines, you knew how to step into it, you knew what he was going to do, and you're done. Because 32 seconds to film this, and then you're out the door. And so I caught the gist of it because I was a naturally professional human being, and I was on every step of the way. I was dead on, and I think they really appreciated that. And it went a long way at the end of the film, where I was, handsomely rewarded later on by Nicolas Cage and by the director, who was, all about kudos and thank yous. And I was just doing my job. I didn't realize other people would fuck that up. I took it very seriously. I drove the car. I had that BMW. I drove it on several shots for all the setups, not the stunt driving, just the regular driving. So I did set up all those driving shots and driving along Sunset and sitting there and doing all that stuff. So
one of my favorite shots of really any movie that is that when he's driving the first time and he's just doing this thing with his hand like this with the stuff's passing by outside the window, and it's just one of those Nicolas Cage-isms. I don't know where it came from, but it works so well.
Yeah.
Just like letting things go.
I think he thinks about every little tiny thing, and he repeats it. It's not like it's in one shot and not the other. He does the exact same thing, because he's very calculated when it comes to that. Even though it sounds or looks like it's off the cuff, he works it for camera A, camera B, side setups, POVs. He does the exact same thing. So even if it's not scripted, he knows what he wants to do. And it may look like it's a one-shot deal in one angle, but it's not. This guy is so calculated and so clever. And I don't think people really realize how smart and clever this man is. He is so far ahead of the game that he doesn't even talk about all the negativity that comes his way. He just does his thing because he knows it's coming from a headspace that he wants to be in. He dissects and dives into it. And the guy fucking goes into it. And watching him, it's like, I can't do that. Like, there's no way I can do that. Let me just sit there, because I would look like an idiot. Like, there's no way that you can do certain things that he's going to do. You can't mimic it. You can't copy it. You look like a fool. And
we talked about that.
It's silly on camera. So I'm not going to make a fool of myself to try to be that person, especially he was with the shopping carts and those scenes with the drinking and puts the bottles in and all that stuff for leaving Las Vegas. It was, you can't mimic that. You can't play with it. So I just kind of like slowly walk with the cart. So the camera can see the movement, but not the action.
We talked about that. Me and Durden talked about that. We were like, listen, it's one thing to be a stand-in or be an extra, to be a lookalike, but for Nicolas Cage, like, no, there should be a special category for certain actors that for stand-ins, because like, dude, how am I supposed to stand in for that? We're talking about how hard it was for John Travolta to act like being Nicolas Cage, and here you are having to be like for all his films. John Travolta had to do it for one film. You have to do it for every film. It's like, so that's why I say you didn't have any career. You didn't have you have a special gift that only certain people would have. There's like probably two people in the world that can mimic Nicolas Cage, and it's you and it's Nicolas Cage. So